Good evening and welcome to News Hour. Coming up in this edition of the news, President Ernest Bai Koroma launches the first and second reports of the African Peer Review Mechanism on promoting good governance. Minister of Transport and Aviation hands over air tickets to 5 mechanics of the SLRTC to pursue course in China for the maintenance of the 100 buses. Hope for Ebola orphans. Sierra Leone supports over 60 orphans in the Mwawolf community with scholarships and assorted food items. All these stories and more, including business and sports, are lined up in this hour. Stay with us. Well, my name is Daphne Zainab Kamar with the news tonight. Our first news story. Minister of Transport and Aviation Leonard Balogun Koroma has handed over air tickets to 5 mechanics of the Sierra Leone Roads Transport Corporation to pursue a course in China for the maintenance of the 100 buses brought from China some 18 months ago. Training of mechanics of the SLRTC is in the package for the total cost of the 100 buses. The presentation of the air tickets took place in the office of the Minister of Transport and Aviation. Sheikh Sumaila reports.
These mechanics are going to receive 1-month course in China for them to be well positioned for the maintenance of the 100 buses brought from China some 18 months ago. Training of mechanics, provision of spare parts and other services were part of the total cost of the 100 buses. The handing over of the air tickets to these mechanics to pursue a course in China is in adherence to the agreement to ensure capacity is built for the long life of the buses. The Minister of Transport and Aviation, Leonard Balogun Koroma, said training was part of the total package of $12 million. He said that the mechanics are expected to return to Sierra Leone in a month's time to give their best to the Sierra Leone Road Transport Corporation.
5 tickets to mechanics of the Sierra Leone Road Transport Corporation in connection with the 100 buses project. They will be going to China for training, and the training is part of the bus package. As you all know, the cost of the buses and the package as a whole was $12 million, and that includes the cost of the buses. It includes 2 years worth of spare parts. It includes machinery for the workshop, and it also includes training. As part of the training, we've had a Chinese team that has been resident here at the SLRTC for the past 18 months, which is almost the life of the buses now since they arrived. And the 5 mechanics that are going to China after today is also part of that package.
Mr. Koroma said that government is planning to bring home more buses to ease the transportation problem across the country. The permanent secretary in the Ministry of Transport and Aviation, Abubakar Kiru, and the general manager of the Sierra Leone Road Transport Corporation, Bokari Louis Kamara, both encouraged the mechanics to concentrate on what they'll be doing in China, and when they return, they put into practice what they are going to gain from the People's Republic of China. Reporting for SLBC News, I'm Sheikh Sumaila.
Acting Minister of Health and Sanitation, Zulayat Cooper, has expressed government's commitment to collaborate with partners to ensure the populace have access to medicines and all the medical supplies in all government facilities in the country. She made the statement whilst opening the Continuous Resource Monitoring and Support System and Review meeting at the Catco International Hotel, Wilkinson Road. Joseph Staley reports.
Madam Cooper said reforms are ongoing within the health ministry, especially in the context of the president's Ebola recovery plan. She added that the strategic framework is essential for the government to ensure that the health sector meets the needs of the people and called on all to focus on the goals as expressed in these documents. The acting minister disclosed that the USAID supported continuous results monitoring and supervision focuses on tracking the progress and performance of the public health facility pharmaceutical supply chain management system. Madam Zulaila Tukupa described the continuous result monitoring and supervision as a new, simple, reliable and cost-effective designed to bring to the health supply chain infrastructure, and that the ministry will give all the supports that will be required to ensure improved access to pharmaceuticals and services.
I hope that at the earliest opportunity, it will be possible for key personnel at all levels of the supply chain infrastructure here in Sierra Leone may be supported to further expand and consolidate their local CIMS knowledge and experience through well-structured studies to one of such countries.
The System for Improved Access to Pharmaceuticals and Services Country Director Mutana Sise revealed that CIAP has three components that is in line with the government 10 to 24 months Ebola recovery plan, with emphasis on governance, coordination and procurement, among others.
There are three components of this project, each of them well rooted in government's 10 to 24 months Ebola recovery plan. You remember that the key result area one of the sub-initiatives under the guidance of Dr. Siran Kamara is supply chain. Key result area 2 under the guidance of Dr. Jambai is data for decision making. And when we come later on to tell you about the continuous result monitoring that we have been implementing, we are focused in that government recovery plan. We never go away from that.
The USAID advisor, Stacey Lamon, outlined the importance of intense coordination of efforts and resources to ensure improved access to pharmaceuticals and services, and that CIAPS is one of the most reliable partners that will provide the services the people need. Several other speakers underscored the importance of the meeting designed to enhance concrete action to strengthen the public health pharmaceutical supply chain. SLBC News, Joseph Stanley reporting.
The management of Connaught Hospital has told the SLBC that cost recovery drugs have not been supplied to the hospital since June. The disclosure was made when the SLBC went to get first-hand information on the free healthcare initiative for persons with disability. Francis Danema reports. In October last year, the Chief Medical Officer wrote to all district medical officers and medical superintendents to provide free health care for persons with disability, quoting the 2011 Disability Act. The Act makes provision for persons with disability to have access to free health care. SLBC's findings revealed that persons with disability can access the facility but have challenges in getting drugs prescribed by medical officers. Senior matron Connaught Hospital, Aisatu Kamara, noted that her administration is aware of the Disability Act. She outlined the challenges the hospital is facing in providing the free health care for persons with disability.
Now the Disability Act says that people here for benefit from the free health care because they fall under the free health care category. But we self will get some key challenge because not so all the drugs.
The West African Association for the Development of Artisanal Fishing is training people within the fishing sector on improved methods of fishing. The training is part of a sub-regional effort to improve the fishing industry in Africa on the project's theme, strengthening fisheries good governance within the artisanal fisheries. The program was held at the West African Fisheries Project, Mauritown. Mamadeke Kanu filed in this report.
Fishing market is faced with a lot of challenges regarding meeting with international standards. Also, fishing the local market is difficult to access as fishmongers are complaining about the scarcity of fish in the country. It appears as if government and the private sector should provide support to the fishery industry to make fish available in the market. Consultant from the Ministry of Fisheries, Dr. Saliu Sako, said reasons for the scarcity of fish in the market are due to bad fishing practice, lack of equipment, and the increase in the population of fishermen.
Gems on the ground. Once you pick all of them, there is nothing left. With fish, you need to take a given amount, which we call sustainable, maximum sustainable yield. How much you take so that the others that you leave would replenish themselves is important. And most often, you take the big ones, the old ones, that maybe are no longer reproducing, and you leave the younger ones. But if you take the baby ones that are supposed to replenish the stocks, then you collapse the fisheries.
The president of the Artisanal Fishermen Union, Thomas Otemu Toure, said the training will capacitate them on how to advocate and lobby for funds from their sponsors. He said his organization has undergone a lot of training for the fishing sector in the country to meet international standards. He also said the union is au fait with the different modalities for structuring and management of equipment, but are unable to implement it. Public Relations Officer Sierra Leone Artisanal Fishermen Union, Woody Baki Koroma, said the fishing sector in the country should improve the sanitation aspects of the way fishes are handled in the country.
There are a lot to be done, especially, and this cannot be done without the input of the government. One, the first thing that we are always crying to government is for them to address is the area of the sanitation. Sanitation is one major issue that needs to be addressed in this country in terms of fisheries for us to meet the international standard. And also we are always talking this issue of this illegal, unregulated and unreported activities that led the country to be given a yellow card by the European community. So with the effort of government to address these two burning issues, then I'm sure actually Sierra Leone will be upgraded for us to be allowed to export our fishery products to the European Union's market.
A fishmonger at the Aberdeen market said she has never been trained on how to handle fish for international standard and expressed dismay that they as fishmongers would constrain the lot if Sierra Leone begins to export fish to other countries. Fatmata Sise said fish is too expensive in the market and that she is running at a loss as she has to pay school fees for her children out of the proceeds she gets from selling her fish.
Because that's my fish there. Where you see fish now, they're not they go to fish, they're fish there right now. But now it says no profit. So losses. When you go to them a new price. Pollock plants buy 150. Now when you not get 260,000, they buy pollock small cartoon. Now 320 big cartoon for pollock. But where the money come, you know, is fish down there now. So they beg the government, make them go to the fisheries, and let them put the price down. Would they suffer? But they don't get fish, now they will pay school fees. You not get nothing for this.
One family people with support from International Child Development Initiative, the Ministry of Social Welfare, Plan International and partners celebrated International Day of the Girl Child in Moyamba and Freetown, respectively. Deputy Director, One Family People, Hadia Tudalo, explains more to Maya Madenke.
Fighting child marriage. Over the years, we have been working to empower girls. And during that moment, we listened to them, we listened to their voices. And one thing that came up is that the traditional or the harmful traditional practice of child marriage is hampering their education, is making girls drop out of schools, is putting their lives at risk. And girls with disabilities are even more vulnerable to child marriage because they're always almost involved into informal union where they face a lot of abuses, physical abuse and emotional abuse. So we decided, together with our international partner, International Child Development Initiative, to build a child marriage-free countries, a child marriage-free communities worldwide. And we had funding from the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the project is titled Her Choice. Her Choice is to build child marriage-free communities where every girl is free to choose if, when, and whom to marry. That will be her choice. So, but prior to this, also, besides, we didn't only celebrate the International Day in Moyamba, but we also celebrated jointly with Plan International in Freetown, where we joined the global campaign called by Plan International for girls to take over. And that day, girls from 50 countries, or over 50 countries, stepped into the shoes of leaders to test leadership and the power of leadership, to have that experience. And in Sierra Leone, those girls were taken to parliament, and one of the role of One Family People was to ensure that girls with disabilities are not left behind. And they were in full participation. And all set of, there was a great representation of different forms of disabilities. And this, our partnership with Plan, started since 2011, where we had this Because I Am a Girl a campaign to get the UN to recognize an International Day of the Girl Child, which has been achieved, and we had the 5th celebration. So we have been an implementing partner to Plan on Because I Am a Girl project. And this is what brought us together also to celebrate the day jointly and make sure that all girls are visible.
Recently, the Day of the Girl Child was celebrated at national level, but you and your institution, you went to Moyamba to celebrate this day. Why did you choose Moyamba?
We choose Moyamba because most of the international organizations are celebrating in Freetown. Although we were also collaborating with some of these organizations in Freetown, but we decided to go to Moyamba, wherein there was no plan to do any celebration over there and reach out.
Deputy Director, One Family People, Hadiatu Diallo. Over 100 pupils have benefited from teaching and learning materials from a group called Organization for Barrack Pekin Education. The donation is to support underprivileged pupils residing at the Wilberforce Barracks. The items were presented by the Minister of Sports, Ahmed Kanu, and the Chief of Staff, Joint Force Command, Colonel Mahmoud Bangura.
The military barracks, who have now grown up as responsible citizens in society, decided to aid these pupils in the same barracks to be educated by providing learning and teaching materials for them. As a new organization formed 2 months ago, the Barrack Pekin Education aims to encourage pupils within the military barracks across the country to be educated. Minister of Sports Ahmed Kanu, who was also born and grown up in the barracks, commended the organization for the idea in supporting children towards education. Ahmed Kanu pledged his continuous support towards the organization.
It's basically very, very rare. You see young people come together and say, let us pay back to our community. I like to applaud you, Mr. Chairman, and all of you for that kind of gesture. As has been mentioned by the chairman, some of us hail from these communities, and we are very much proud of them. Because in the past, we have to make what we are because we live through here and believe in the spirit of coming from the barracks. And I want to therefore challenge all of you that
This opportunity is very rare. It has got to be seized. It has got to be utilized. And it has got to be put into full force.
Chief of Staff Joint Force Command, Colonel Mahmoud Bangura, who presented items to the 30 outstanding pupils from the Wilberforce Barracks, calls on them to study hard to continue to be exceptional in their academic work. Colonel Bangura said that the gesture is a support in the educational pursuit of the children, as they will be serving the nation and humanity as well. Coordinator of the organization, Felix Bangura, says the motive of the group is to provide educational aid to less privileged children in various barracks across the country. He calls on those who have born and bred in any military barracks to join them so that they will be able to target more pupils within the barracks. SABC TV News Eye in Freetown, Musiri reporting.
Teachers, parents and pupils of the Khulafai Rashidin Islamic Primary School at Godrich are appealing for additional infrastructure, water and sanitation facilities. Ivejasko reports.
The Khulafai Rashidin Islamic Primary School, located at Godrich Village in the Peninsula area, was established in 1990 when the Godrich community and its surrounding were not overpopulated. Now that the community is expanding, inhabitants at the Godrich and its environs prefer to send their children to a government-assisted school, that is the Khulafai Rashidin Islamic Primary School. Godrich is known as a fish market area. However, the school is located closer to the market. Therefore, the school environment is no longer conducive for learning due to the increase of business people in the market. The school has 2 buildings with 9 classrooms with a total of 548 pupils in the afternoon shift and 465 in the morning shift. Sitting accommodation is a big problem. Therefore, the children sit on cement blocks and some on the empty floor.
A charity organization based in Freetown, Hope for Ebola Orphans, Sierra Leone, has supported over 60 Ebola orphans in the Moawaf community with scholarships and assorted food items. This is part of their interventions to ensure the children orphaned by Ebola continue their education. A presentation ceremony took place at the Moawaf community. Sheikh Usmaila reports.
These are children in need of support. They were orphaned by Ebola. They have to go to school for a better future. This is the reason why Hope for Ebola Orphans Sierra Leone has intervened to ensure that these children are supported to continue their education by providing them with scholarships and food items. Moawaf is among communities in the western area that were hard hit by Ebola, and this support, which was described by community elders as timely, was also described by the beneficiaries and their guardians as divine intervention. According to the co-founder and director of Hope for Ebola Orphans Sierra Leone, Maila Yansane, the gifts for the Ebola orphans are being provided by their sponsors, the Holland Shipyard Sierra Leone Limited. Through its leadership, he said the Ebola orphans need support to continue their education, which is why they have decided to reach out into hard-hit communities across the country to support them. Madam Yansane said that even during the peak of the Ebola scourge in the country, they were working with the Ministry of Social Welfare to support communities that were hard hit. A sponsor, Colonials Hu Jendong, from Holland Shipyard, said they will continue to provide support to these children because they are orphans and their situation is desperate. He lauded Hope for Ebola Orphans Sierra Leone for their intervention to cater for these children. He called on guardians to ensure that the children take their academic work seriously. The distribution of the items formed a high point of the ceremony.
Health Alert and Save the Children International Sierra Leone have engaged mothers and girls in Tombo and Aberdeen communities on issues affecting their well-being, including teenage pregnancy and early marriage, as part of the International Day of the Girl Child. Omubaka sent in this report.
In the development of any nation cannot be downplayed, especially in a country like Sierra Leone, wherein women are still fighting to play a major part in decision-making process. As a way of commemorating the International Day of the Girl Child, set up to address issues affecting the well-being of girls, Health Alert, jointly with Save the Children International Sierra Leone, has engaged mothers and young girls in Tumbo and Aberdeen communities. Director Health Alert Victor Lassana, whilst addressing parents and girls at Tumbo and Aberdeen communities, says the forum was to discuss issues of teenage pregnancy and early marriage. He adds that they believe that women have a role to play in the development of the nation. The director notes that many a time, instead of educating these young girls to become productive women, parents give up to early marriage. According to Health Alert, girls should be girls and not teenage mothers and brides. These two communities were targeted because of their involvement in fishing activities and also the rate of teenage pregnancy and early marriage. Among issues raised were most parents cannot communicate with their children intimately. Among issues raised were most parents cannot communicate with their children intimately and make no proper monitoring. At the Tumbo community, a teacher represented the chief, Jayatu Kagbo, says one major factor that is responsible for early marriage is lack of parenting. Madam Frances Charlie is a parent at Aberdeen and also explained how parents should take care of their young girls.
I emphasize in monitoring. When you actually monitor the beginning, there's a difference. Me for one, I began to talk this long, and I talk now, and I will continue to talk. When you monitor the beginning, they actually see the way from the Bible itself tells you, instead of you many people the way I for grow, when you my way from big, you know what the Bible says. Me young people, I the people that when know me and know me people there. I make sure say I'm monitoring, especially the girl child. When they go to school, when they go to school, if you let I ask her why is it, I don't know how to go to school, I don't know how to go to school, I don't check the book, I don't check how they write, I don't check the study stuff for them, I don't like them because I don't say. But I make sure say when they go to supposed to do to them, I don't do when you go to school, the whatever is direct again, I make sure say again direct for it without in a peaceful atmosphere.
Most of the girls that spoke outlined lack of confidence and support from their parents. Child Ambassador Save the Children Millicent Rose insisted on the importance of care. As she put it, poverty should not be the reason for parents neglecting their young girls to make them useful citizens in society.
Well, in case you just joined us, this is News Hour live on the SLBC. In commemorating the Women's Convention 2016, African Youth Against Hunger, with support from ActionAid Sierra Leone, has engaged women farmers and civil society activists across the country to discuss women access to land and other facilities. The forum took place at the Leicester Peak community. Mahawa Aliyu has the story.
This day marks the birthday of the village since its establishment. He encouraged the women to keep up the good work as agriculture is key in the nation's development. He appealed to the government and non-governmental organizations to help them with borehole water wells as the backyard garden they are embarking on is faced with water problem. The head of communications and campaigns coordinator ActionAid Sierra Leone, Jonathan Bundu, said similar event is ongoing in Tanzania where women farmers climb Mount Kilimanjaro to commemorate the day.
ActionAid International over the world have mobilized over 100,000 women who are land owners and farmers, small-scale older farmers, and they're actually meeting in Arusha, Tanzania, and they're climbing Kilimanjaro to actually demand for their land rights. So women are saying that they want equal rights and opportunities so that there will be more food and less poverty. So what we've done here as in ActionAid Sierra Leone, what we've done is to engage with the activistas. We call them activistas, our activists, our youth component, and they've worked with local farmers, they've sat with them, they've listened to their demands, and we've come up with a charter that we've presented yesterday to parliamentarians.
The National Coordinator of Africa Youth Against Hunger, Sierra Leone, Sir Saman Sumana, explained about the affiliation with ActionAid Sierra Leone.
ActionAid are partners. We have really implemented so many activities, especially in the area of land and livelihood stuffs. I could remember a year ago we launched a report on the land rights review, and we are doing all this to see that women are empowered, are enhanced in terms of the use of land.
Sierra Leone has joined other countries to celebrate World Food Day on the 16th of October on the theme Climate is Changing, Food and Agriculture Must Too. The day is set aside to commemorate the founding of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, in 1945. Alice Mama Thompson has the story.
2016 marks the 71st anniversary of the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, and the 36th observance of the World Food Day. The organization was founded in 1945 with its strategic objectives to eliminate hunger, food insecurity, and malnutrition, and increase the reliance of livelihoods to threats and crises. However, it seems as though climate change is an impediment to achieving these goals. Environmentalists say that with higher average temperature comes more extreme weather conditions such as storms, drought, heavy rainfalls, heat waves, and forest fires, which steadily increase in frequency and intensity. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization country representative in Sierra Leone, Yabenyi Tipo, climate change is a fundamental threat to global food security and is undermining crop yields in many parts of the world, including Sierra Leone. She said the global goal for achieving zero hunger by 2030 is fruitless without addressing climate change.
The threat of climate change continues to mount. Every single day, global average temperatures are increasing. New records are registered almost every year. According to NASA, the first 6 months of 2016 was the warmest 6-month period recorded since 1980.
However, the global efforts to address climate change are on course, Madam Tipo added. She said countries from all over the world met at COP21 to finalize the Paris Agreement on climate change, and for the first time, all countries have committed themselves to do their part to respond to climate change. Nyabenye Tipo also said that FAO's role now is to underline how food security needs will be prioritized in the country. For SLBC News, Alice Mayama Thompson, Freetown.
Government and its development partners have joined the rest of the world to commemorate Global Hand Washing Day on the theme Making Hand Washing a Habit at a ceremony held at the SOS Hall, Lumley Beach in Freetown. Hundreds of people from various schools in the Western area and NGOs working on wash projects were in attendance. Ibrahim Samoa reports.
This year's commemoration started off with a float parade from Aberdeen Road onto the SOS compound, Beach Road, Lumley. It brought together dozens of people from various schools, NGOs working in wash projects and line ministries. The Minister of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs, Dr. Sylvia Blyden, said 15th October every year was set aside as Global Hand Washing Day to raise more awareness on hand washing, saying that the idea was initiated by the Global Public-Private Partnership for Hand Washing with Soap in 2008 and endorsed by governments, international institutions, civil society, and NGOs around the world. She said hand washing helps to reduce communicable diseases, and during the Ebola outbreak, hand washing played an important role in fighting the virus. She admonished the peoples and Sierra Leoneans to instill the habit of hand washing with soap at all times, saying that it is cost effective.
At this very moment that we are celebrating in Sierra Leone, 200 million people in over 100 countries are also celebrating this day. They are raising awareness because they believe that it is very, very important for awareness to be raised about hand washing. Sierra Leone has been celebrating Global Day of Hand Washing since it started in 2008. We have maintained the celebrations, and it has now been intensified after the disaster that we went through known as the Ebola outbreak.
UNICEF's country representative Geoff Whiffen said hand washing with soap is dangerously low in many countries, including Sierra Leone, saying that despite its proven benefits to child care and its importance in reducing the transmission of deadly disease, including the Ebola. He said in Sierra Leone, diarrhea disease and respiratory infections are major contributors to the extremely high child mortality rates. He said improving the overall hygiene and sanitation situation in the country in combination with hygiene education are key to preventing diseases like cholera and diarrhea, saying that making hand washing with soap a habit is a cost-effective solution for children and their families, healthy growth and development. He said under the President's recovery priority, the government, with UNICEF, with funding support from the UK government and other donors, is aiming to support over 150,000 people in 400 rural communities for the improvement of hand washing and sanitation, and there are plans to construct and rehabilitate a total of 504 water wells in schools, communities and healthcare facilities. Director of SOS, Prince Cummins, said they have been promoting and creating awareness among people to change their behavior and inculcate the habit of hand washing. He called on all to be regularly practicing hand washing, which he said helps to prevent diseases. Representatives from the Ministries of Health, Water Resources, Education, Freetown Consortium and WaterAid underscored the importance of hand washing with soap, and it reduces childhood mortality rates and acute respiratory infections, stressing the importance to turn hand washing into a habit. They describe hand washing as a behavioral change intervention by reducing the incidences of sickness.
President Ernest Bai Koroma has launched the first and second reports of the African Peer Review Mechanism and Governance Forum on promoting good governance through poverty eradication and human rights at the Meta Conference Hall, Brookfield. Razia Bashkama filed this report.
And international guests, President Women's Forum Mrs. Maud Peacock expressed appreciation to have in their midst His Excellency the President, under whose leadership Sierra Leone as a country has achieved significant milestone since the adoption of the APRM in 2004.
We apologize for not bringing you the full report. We end News Hour for tonight. To end News Hour, the main points again. President Ernest Bai Koroma has launched the first and second reports of the African Peer Review Mechanism on promoting good governance. The Minister of Transport and Aviation, Leonard Balogun Koroma, has handed over air tickets to some 5 mechanics of the SLRTC to pursue course in China for the maintenance of the 100 buses. And Hope for Ebola Orphans Sierra Leone has supported over 60 Ebola orphans in the Moorwolf community with scholarships and assorted food items. Well, that's all in this edition of the News Broadcast Live on the SLBC. On behalf of News Editor Abubakar Bangura, I'm Daphne Zainab Kama in Freetown. For more information about our programs, send us an email to contact us at slbc.sl. And in case you missed all or part of our programs at the SLBC, visit our website at www.slbc.sl. Thanks for watching. Keep watching the SLBC. Good night.